What's up, everyone? Sean Count Blagrith here today with an album review. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Um, Today I'm going to be talking about the 2016 self-release of New York State death metal band NilExistence and their debut full-length Existence and Revelation. If you're not familiar with NilExistence, they're a relatively new band, been around since I believe late 2014, early 2015. Put this album out. They were formerly known, and I'm sure many of you know them from their previous band. It's essentially the same exact lineup, just with a change of theme, and that is Disfigured Dead. I have both albums of theirs. Visions of Death, excellent album put out by Hell's Headbangers. And then, of course, Relentless, which is a fucking fantastic piece of straightforward death metal put out by Severed and Butchered Records, both labels being from Western New York. But NilExistence is a completely different beast entirely. It still has the straightforward death metal that you know Disfigured Dead for, but everything is just better. You could tell that they put a lot of thought into not only the music and how the album flows, but they put a lot of thought into the themes behind the album and the lyrics. Very, very deep and introspective lyrics. Something that's very cool, and I really wish more death metal bands took the approach that NilExistence take, instead of just constantly focusing on death and stuff like that, which, hey, I'm cool with. But at the same time, I like to see different lyrical themes within the genre. It's always nice to get that breath of fresh air, so to speak. And NilExistence bring that. And the thing that's really great about this album is I'm very, very picky with death metal nowadays. I don't listen to a lot of black metal death metal, to be honest anymore. I listen to more black metal. But when I get the itch for death metal, I'm very selective. And this album has scratched that itch like you wouldn't believe over the last month or so since I got this CD. Just extremely vicious, heavy, thick, chunky sounding guitars with stellar production. The guitar tone is everything you want out of just a straightforward death metal album. The tone is just very thick, robust, and absolutely massive sounding. Everything cuts through perfect. There's nothing that sounds muddy and distorted to the point where it just sounds like noise. It doesn't have any of that. It doesn't sound like it's a shitty produced album. You could tell there was a lot of time put into this. And in a way, the production reminds me of a less grandiose Septic Flesh, or kind of more of the last few Vader records, with a very streamlined, straightforward, crystal clear sound. And that guitar tone is very reminiscent of it. The riffs are insane. I absolutely love the riffs on this album. They're just absolutely massive sounding. They go from being chaotic and just more old school death metal oriented to having these sort of groovy, headbangable moments that I honestly love. It really breaks up the intensity, but it still doesn't let up, if you know what I mean. It just gives another layer to make the fast parts seem that much more intense, and the slow parts kind of give way to just giving the songs room to breathe, and I really like that. The bass tone on this, once again, it's very clear, and it sounds perfect. This is probably the best bass tone I've heard on a death metal record in years. I would probably say since the last Catalepsy record. And that is a very dirty tone, but I thought it worked really well. This is a very clean tone. Once again, it works very well. And the amazing thing about this album is they now have a full lineup, including a bassist and a vocalist. But at the time of the recording, just a three-piece, two guitarists and drummer and guitarist Dave switched up on doing vocals every once in a while, and Dave also performed the bass on this album. So it's very cool to see how talented these guys are, and they're showcasing it. And the drums on this album, oh my god. I'm gonna make a pretty bold statement. I'd say Kyle, their NilExistence drummer, is one of the best drummers in death metal, period. He is absolutely fantastic, absolute monster with a double kick. He's just so incredibly fast and so powerful. He's not flashy, he's not overly technical, but it's flashy enough to catch your attention instantly when you hear it. But he's subtle enough to the point where he doesn't distract you from the guitar. And that's the thing with the guitar as well I need to talk about that I can't believe I skipped over, is everything is more subtle, so to speak, in the way that death metal can be subtle. It's nothing is too flashy to distract you from everything else that's happening, and that is something great, and that's something I look for with death metal. No instrument is trying to outshine and outdo the others. The solos are absolutely amazing, but they don't just, they're not there to be flashy. It's something that fits with the song and helps the flow of the album, and I love that. And the tone, once again, for the leads are absolutely incredible. I love that. The drums, though, blast beats out the ass off. Some groovy parts here and there with lots and lots of fills. I believe the word is paradiddles. I think I could be wrong on that. Just on the ride, it sounds so sick when he just does those really quick rings on it, or I can't really roll my R's or anything, so I can't give you a proper mouth sound of it. But when you hear it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Using the ride bell to its full potential, which I love. The China is used for the really strong, just fucking punch you in the face moments where it just adds to the impact of the riff that's happening. And his blasts are super tight, 1 foot bomb blast. You got this traditional 1 foot blast, you got the bomb blast. There's just tons of variation within the blast beats, which is very refreshing to see. Instead of a drummer kind of focusing on just doing one particular blast, he's spreading it out, which is something that I really, really enjoy about this. Another thing I talk about is the drum sound on this is fucking massive. The kicks sound so huge and so punchy. Little bit of click, but it's nothing that's obnoxious. It's nothing that makes me think of the Faceless or any of those like Planetary Duality. I can't stand the drums on that album, and these have a little bit of click to them, but it's nothing that's just kind of nothing that will make you cringe. It gives it enough click to add the clarity, and there's still enough rumble of the bass to give it the punch and that punchiness that, like, the snare is just massive sounding once again, and it's crystal clear no matter what he's doing. I absolutely love it. And the vocals, not a lot of variation, but I like what it's doing. There's some highs here and there, but it's more focused on the just low, straightforward, almost Eric Rattan style vocal, which I may not be the biggest fan of Hate Eternal, but I really like Eric's voice, and it definitely reminds me of that in many ways. Just excellent vocals, very, very, very well done lyrics. I just love this album, guys. One of my favorite death metal albums to come out in a long time, and I'm going to be honest, it's going to be very hard for a death metal album to come out this year that will overthrow this. Absolutely fucking sick death metal. And if you're a fan of straightforward death metal, modern death metal, if you like Hate Eternal, Septic Flesh, stuff like that, just very aggressive, vicious, savage death metal, this is definitely for you. The band self-released this, and you can pick up copies from them. Link will be in the description. definitely worth picking up. I love the artwork to this, done by Seth from Septic Flesh. Pro pressed CD. I was actually talking with their drummer, and he told me they got it pressed actually at the same plant that Unique Leader gets their CDs pressed at. So that's very cool. But excellent artwork, great packaging. Just an amazing death metal album, guys. I don't, as many of you know there that watch my videos, I don't talk about death metal a lot because I find a lot of it to be boring at this point. I don't know why, but it just kind of feels stale. And this is definitely a breath of fresh air. They're not rewriting the book on death metal, but they are perfecting it. And that's what I like to hear. You don't have to do something new or flashy to be great. But they're just, this is such a sick album. I don't know what else to say other than what I've already said. They also have shirts you can pick up. I don't know if they have this design anymore. I picked this up a while ago when I saw them live. But I know they have long sleeves and stuff like that. So pick up a shirt, pick up a CD, throw them some money because these guys definitely deserve it. I'll also link to you some music video for If Snakes Could Talk, My Words Would Slither, and also a lyric video. I can't remember the name of the song off the top of my head. I believe it is for Primordial Transgression. I could be wrong. But anyways, there will be links in the description. Support these guys. Spread the word about them. They definitely deserve it. For a score, I'm giving this a very strong 8.5 out of 10, bordering on a 9. I can't get enough of this album. Definitely pick it up and support them. And if you haven't heard the past band, Disfigured Dead, definitely give that a listen as well. Central New York, upstate New York death metal at its absolute finest. So 8.5, borderline 9 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And as always, keep it metal.